Okay. So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the event on where we discuss about the women and the future of work, building a stronger workplace through AI and leadership. In this conversation, is brought to you by Bosch Safe Workplaces, a division of Curious Catalyst, and we are a trading and consulting organization dedicated to future of work. Today, we are joined by an aspiring panel of women leaders who will share their perspectives on how AI and leadership can shape stronger workplaces for the future. With that, I invite our moderator, Pallavi Sankhe, to lead the discussion and introduce our panelists.
Thank you so much, Vartika. And good morning, everyone. And welcome to this LinkedIn Live conversation on women and the future of work, building a stronger workplace through AI and leadership. As we celebrate International Women's Month and reflect on the theme Give to Gain, it's worth asking an important question. What will AI mean for women at work? And the opportunity is enormous. So is the responsibility. Globally, women's labor force participation is just over 50%, compared to about 80% for men, which means millions of talented women are still outside the workforce. Technology, especially the AI, has the potential to change that. Today's discussion brings together an inspiring panel of women leaders from HR and leadership space who are actively shaping workplaces of the future. So now let me quickly introduce our wonderful panelists. We have Alapani Deshmukh, HR leader at eClinical Works, Gauri Das, Senior
Hi.
Vice President I, and Head HR at India Factoring and Finance Solutions, Gauri Desai, Head HR
Hi.
at Caliber Chemicals, Jayashree Benjamin, Head HR at Amrut Software. So thank
Hello,
you
good
and yeah,
morning.
good morning, good morning. And so thank you all of us for joining us today. And let us dive right into the conversation. So obviously we all know and we meet so often and we've been discussing this regularly, right? That how AI is transforming how we work. It causes anxiety too. I'm not saying that it doesn't cause palpitations in my mind. But I'd like to know your perspective, ladies. Like, what is the single biggest opportunity AI creates for women in the workplace? Of course, we'll keep this short, one sentence each if possible. And let me start with Alapini. Alapini,
Sure. Thank you, Pallavi. And I think if I have to answer back, I think the answer lies in the exact question that you asked. It's about opportunities you asked, and if I have to reframe, it's about how you redistribute those opportunities with the help of technology. And I think it's all about how do you build on those accessibility, and how do you amplify it. So it's all about redistributing those opportunities.
so Gauri Das.
Yeah, so I think it creates an opportunity to move from administrative work to strategic, more so for women, because we all will remember every time there is minutes of meeting required, somebody will call in a woman and say, "Kya aap kar sakte ho?" So now you don't need it because AI is doing it, and lot many other things also. So a lot of opportunities in terms of doing some meaningful work is what AI is creating.
So Gauri Desai. See, we have two people, Gauri Das, Gauri Desai, and we've been joking, the GD and then Pallavi the P, the GDP. Yeah.
Yes.
So when I'm asking, I'll be taking your full names. I'm afraid Gauri Das and Gauri
No,
Desai.
that's perfectly fine. Thanks, Pallavi. Thanks, first of all, for joining. I mean, allowing us to join and be part of this conversation and all the wonderful women on the panel. I think just building what Alapini and Gauri Das said, that I think it will really allow us an opportunity to keep some of the mundane operational job, being taken care of AI or technology. And that also means allowing us the time and space and mental space to focus on the things that really, really matter. I think that's what I see AI doing it, or the technology overall doing it for women, that letting us that take that space wherein we are able to think strategically, focus on more meaningful things than just the mundane routine jobs, and there is somebody else who can take care of it. That's my take.
Super, super. Jayashree,
Yeah, hi. So Way back with the traditional ways, from the typewriter to the computer, from the era, with the 30 years experience, I know the transition. So it's has tremendously changed, and it has reduced the routine work and give women more time to focus on creative thinking and problem solving, and helps us in leadership building. So it also allows you a flexible time, remote work, which will help many women to stay and grow in their careers. So yes, it is helpful, and it gives you a opportunity to evolve. And I'm happy.
Super. We're already starting with a lot of wonderful insights. In fact, maybe I can add my two pennies. I recently read about this AI Sakhi initiative in India. It happened just some time before the AI summit, which we had in Delhi, right? So where loads of, I think around 1,500 rural women learn to use AI tools on their phones and that will help them in their local businesses. I think for women entrepreneurs itself, it is a great tool. It will give one person the power of a small team. And we all know how difficult it is for women to start their own businesses, to get those loans. Yeah. So this is where I feel the power is immense. Of course, there can be issues also, but let us look at let us be more optimistic, right? So, which again makes the next question very important. And sort of a lot of people do ask me this question. So now, does everybody has to know AI? They have to learn machine language. So are we all supposed to be techies now? Is the tech going to take over our lives? So there's this lot of conversation about the future of work being tech driven. And this question is specifically for Gauri Das and Alapini. You're both engineers. So what skills do you believe women must consciously build today to stay relevant in an AI-powered workplace? So Gauridas, if you can go first, that will be great.
So I believe the non-AI skills would be critical because AI can do a lot of technical stuff. And one of them would be where women are still making good progress, but not reached there yet is influence and communication. So when you get the data, you bring in clarity because AI has all the answers, but the clarity is missing. You have to check them, you have to add value. That is one of the things. Second, how do you contextualize it? So we were talking about prompt engineering, then we said it is context engineering. So that's what we have to really learn. And then connecting the dots with all the stakeholders, how it impacts or how it relates to someone who is present in the room or who is going to be impacted by it. So I would say in the influence and communication piece, and these three things I would say are critical for women to take the next step.
Okay. So basically, do we need some tools, some apps? What is it that we need to do?
So we need to understand the context first. I would say start with business acumen because that's where we lack many a times. And once you have that understanding, understand how do you connect with stakeholders, how do you connect this information with stakeholders. And like I said, context engineering is one of the things that we need to learn. But we don't have to really learn coding. If somebody does it, it's really good. But it's not that because many people, like you said, reach out and ask which coding language should I learn? And I say it's not required because every day the language is going to change. What we need to understand is the basics. But yes, there are certain courses which everyone should do on AI. I did it too.
Superb, superb. And what about you, Alapini? If I could hear your take, I mean, from your experience, what are your thoughts on this?
Sure, I think wonderful. I'm going to build on what all the co-panelists said, and especially the context, Gauri, that you just mentioned, right? Pallavi, you mentioned what skills do we learn as techies? Just to just quote you, Anthropic's co-founder, Ms. Daniela, she is not from the tech background. She comes from the background of music, English literature. Okay, and she is today a co-founder of one of the AI giants, right? Second, if I could put Priyanka, who leads AI for Microsoft, was an architect and now part of the AI core team, right? So what I'm trying to tell here is, I think we'll have to have a holistic development as well. So technology will take care of the technical part, but when you lead that as a woman, or for that matter any gender, you will have to have a holistic knowledge as well, which I think will help us build the solution, which empathy is inbuilt, in which a sustainability is inbuilt, okay, by design. And when it comes to core skills, I think Gauri did mention a couple of them. Just to add a few of them, I think it's going to be strategic thinking, and how do you build those stories based on now the analysis that you have. I think at this moment, all other uses of AI, how do we become the architects of building those AI applications would, I think, make a difference for all genders, I feel. Yeah.
Yeah, I think again, to add to this, Alapini, we have created a new thing called application layer. If you if you're keeping track
Yes.
of the AI summit, most of the Indians
Yes.
are going to be part of application layer. And I personally am not too happy about it. Yes, because we should be on that architectural and building level. And I'm
Absolutely.
sure maybe next 2-3 years, with the kind of investments which we are going to be making, which Indian government and India is going to be making, and of course the private sector itself, I'm hoping to see some change there. But yes, let us at least take the advantage of the application as of now.
Yeah, because end of the day,
Yeah,
AI is not
yeah,
going to replace the task, but
yeah.
I think it's about the potential, right? So I think, yeah, we'll have to build our capacity as developers and architects of AI.
Superb. So we don't need to tell all the people asking us that yes, engineering is the only way. And then Daniela Amoda, as you said, I had no idea that she was English literature graduate. I mean, this is
Yeah,
amazing, isn't it?
yeah, it's very interesting,
Yeah,
and I think
yeah,
humanities. I think today, if you see, I think most of the IITs also have humanities as their core subject.
yeah, they do have.
I come from an engineering background, as you mentioned, and when I was doing AI was an optional subject, and I'm glad I chose that in my fourth year of engineering. It's relevant today as well.
So
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 yeah,
you were way ahead of the curve, Alapini, when
I
you
was
thought
just
about
lucky
it.
enough to choose not the otherwise option, which was there with AI, I would say.
So you had that option, and how many had the thought that yes, it would become important? Because see, machine language has always been there. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it was that boring thing which a lot of boring nerds did. There was no glamour, and
Exactly.
then bam, open AI, and now it is something that is going to probably rule our lives, right? Okay. So next question is for Gauri Desai. Of course, we have been talking about this tech, etc. But then AI can of course automate many tasks, as Gauri has also said. All the and even both the Gauris have said, right? The mundane will get automated. But leadership, empathy, judgment, I mean, these are all deeply human strengths, right? So how can women leaders leverage these strengths to remain indispensable in the age of AI? So, Gauri Desai, if you can come into the conversation, that would be great.
Sure, sure.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah.
I think it's an interesting question because I feel that all of us, especially women, and we are really, really born with empathy. I think we are also born with some sort of a discipline, or the checks that we kind of do with respect to how we are doing our work, or what do we train our generations. So I think little bit of a responsibility towards the ethical checks is also something that's more inherent in us. And I think providing, as being a woman in the house, or being the woman leader at the work, I think we are responsible to provide that kind of a psychological safety to our teams. And like Gauri was saying, it's more important to build that communication, to build that storytelling, right? So while AI might give us the data insights and might give us some of the hard facts in a nicer dashboards, I think what really, really matters for us as women leaders is to really weave in that story of human element, and not missing out on that whole human element as to how it's going to impact our teams or our business decisions. that's where I think as a women leader, we can come into the play. And I think that's something that as a skill set or as a value is something which is very inherent. And I believe that women can be good storytellers and they are very clear about what they want to really achieve out of that communication. So I think when we look at it, I think AI tools will be very good thinking partners for us to maybe help us just keep our communication very focused without losing the whole human element in that storytelling. So I think that's how I look at women's role in the whole AI space and technology.
Fabulous. So Jayashree, like you have spent many years working with teams in the tech sector. What are your thoughts on this? How women leaders can use these strengths effectively? If you can speak from your own experience, that would be great.
Pallavi, like I said, from a typewriter and a computer, and then you have your tabs and you have your tools, and when there was nothing from there, one thing I would like to say that when we were back and there, I was pushed and said that no, work on a computer, don't work on a typewriter. I was pushed back and said, kid, work on word star. So it has evolved, and I was pushed by men by saying that, kid, don't work.
Don't work.
Don't work on the typewriter. Don't work on this thing. So I'm very happy to be a part of that ecosystem, which has always helped me and pushed me. But yes, in my experience working in the technology industry for many years, one thing is very clear. Technology can improve efficiency, but it cannot replace human understanding. You need to understand, even if you have to work with AI, you need to delegate, you need to give AI what you want, what is the kind of output you want to get out of it. But you need to supervise, you need to understand, and you need to say that yes, this is wrong or this is right. And AI can process information very quickly, but leadership still depends on how well we understand people, build trust, guide teams through changes. It's very important. And we need to understand how our teams will, get help. Women leaders often bring strength in listening, collaboration, and understanding. Yeah, Pallavi?
Yes,
So,
yes, absolutely.
so the team dynamics and the women leaders should understand the dynamics of the team. Skills become extremely valuable in an AI-driven workplace because organizations are going through constant transformation. Employees need leaders who need to help them to adapt, learn new skills, and stay motivated. That's where we come into the picture, that we need to motivate. The scare will always be there, but then deal with it. We need to take up the challenge, and we are here to stay.
Yes, we are
Yeah,
here to say.
I'll just kind of add on to what just Jayashree said. I think it's also important to not be afraid of, because everyone is talking about AI and just maybe thinking that do we need to be like Alapini said, right? Do we need to be engineers? Maybe no. But can we get away from learning technology also as we are evolving? I think as women leaders, the answer is also no. No, we should be more open to what lies ahead, and it's also an opportunity for us to upskill, right? And maybe learn, like Gauri Das has already done some sort of certification, she said. So why shy away from getting into it? Maybe this is rather a
Yeah.
platform for us also to upskill for all of us and not shy away from it. So I
Yeah.
think this is a, let's look at it more positively as an opportunity and
Yes. Yes.
just evolve in that whole process.
We need to evolve, Ms. Gauri Desai. It's very important.
So basically, we can say that maybe AI can write emails, yes, analyze spreadsheet, but as of now, at least thankfully, it can't still handle office politics, right? It is still there. It'll continue to be there. It cannot handle emotions of humans
Yes.
or team dynamics. So, which means human leadership is still in business, unless, of course, they're going to replace us all by robots. I don't see that happening very soon. They're very
Yeah, but
expensive,
then
right?
I think then
Yeah,
that process, it
yeah.
will not be only about women leaders being replaced, right? It will be everybody being replaced if that so ever happens. But
So that will be, that will be existential crisis for us. But yeah, uh, I'm pretty sure the world leadership and we are all working towards not letting that happen. In fact, I'll tell you why I was keen on understanding these points is because at a very recent event, I met two people, and see, till then I was under the impression that the singularity means the point at which the AI will get become like humans, or maybe maybe supersede humans, will go ahead of me. So that is the point of singularity. So few years back, that was supposed to be 2040. And now with the rapid changes, it has now become 2030. So we have 5 years, we have maybe 4 years. Yeah. That is what people are saying. So that is where the doomsday predictions are coming, the fear mongering, the FOMO, that is from where it is getting built up. But then we have been there for so many years, right? More than 25 years of experience, more than 20 years of experience. We've been there in the industry. And as you all rightly said, we will continue to be there. I think it is the young people probably who really need to step up, work harder, get skills, and probably they are the ones who are going to get affected the most. Okay. I hope you all agree with this.
Yes, Pallavi.
Yeah, but to a certain extent.
Yeah,
But if
yeah.
our generation, the new generation, listens and knows what has to be done, then there will be some balance.
Yeah, there should be some balance, right? वो अगर पढ़ाई लिखाई करेंगे और अगर skills develop करेंगे तो क्यों नहीं? I'm pretty sure that they will also manage, they'll adapt, not just manage and adapt. I'm pretty sure they will be able to thrive, right? So yes, we're talking about individuals adapting, women putting in more effort, learning new skills, learning new apps, doing new certifications, of course. But then I feel organizations also have some homework to do. So how is it that, how can organizations create environments where women leaders can truly thrive in the future of work? Alapani, if we can start from you.
Sure. Uh, so I think we, as a organizations, are always a subset of a society, right? So what happens in a society is also a replica of what happens in the organization. And to be very specific, what needs, I think, one is we've spoken enough of women getting that voice. I think voice, I think we've already got. Are we being heard is the question. Yeah, I think we speak, but are we getting heard at right points, at right levels is something that organizations will have to put in those processes. Second is the visibility part of it. Yeah. So voice, visibility, and the value recognition that is due. Okay. So I think these three things is something very critical. What organizations should opt for, moving from mentorship to sponsorships is critical for women to then thrive at the workforce, right? I think we've seen that kind of camaraderie being there in the organizations, and we have sort of, like, for example, we would have a buddy system, somebody mentoring them, right? But can we get it a level above, right? But because when you have to perform, you will also need a sponsor to champion your cause, right? So I think that's very critical when that voice has to be heard. And second is, I think I can speak from the software development part of it, is also how you embed those voices when you're building the product, right? So that certain biases which persist at a design level, it cannot be eliminated, but can we minimize them when we have diverse set of voices in that product building. So I think that's very valuable to have them. And no question of not having them. I think that we have to ask more is how quickly can we have more of it. Yeah.
Very interesting. So Gauri Das, if you could just add your two pages, basically when it comes to visibility, full marks, right? So in fact, I think we can take lessons from you on visibility. I'm deeply impressed by the way in which presentation is done. See, we have these sessions wherein we do talk about visibility. We urge women leaders to be visible. I'd like your insights, Gauri Das, on this.
Yeah. So you want to talk specifically about visibility, or what should organizations do around?
Both. Visibility, yes, and all, and what they can do, yes. See, visibility is an important part, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so I think visibility becomes critical. You rightly said, and I fully agree. Because you may be doing 100 of great things, but if you are not able to showcase them or talk about them, thinking that what will people say? Am I being too aggressive or something like that? Then you do your work, because now the concept of my work will speak for myself doesn't work. You have
Right,
to talk about it. You
right.
have to actively talk about it, and you have to remember that it's not bragging. It's about just putting forward what you are doing, how you are doing, and how you are bringing in results for your organization. And support your manager also, because your manager has a large team to manage. Unless you come forward and bring up
Correct.
those contributions, they may not be in a situation to do it for you. So the best way to bring in visibility is to get involved in projects beyond your work, because then you get the circle of influence. You connect with more and more people, and they talk about you. There's the social media, there's LinkedIn, where you can talk about your work. You can network there, and that's how visibility will be created. So a lot of things, but yes, I fully agree that women must come forward. I've seen women doing excellent work, but when it comes to showcasing it, they take a seat, step backward, and that's where the challenge happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
So
I
if I can add,
completely agree. I
yeah, yeah.
completely agree with Gauri.
Yes. If I can add here, Gauri Das, in fact, there was this session where we were doing, and one senior woman leader in an organization, you know what she said? Pallavi, अगर मुझे ही आगे आगे आना है, मुझे ही बोलना पड़ेगा मेरे बारे में, तो क्या फायदा? बाकी लोगों ने बोलना चाहिए मेरे बारे में. मैं बोलूंगी तो अच्छा नहीं लगता.
हाँ तो इन्फ्लुएंस करो ना, but unless you tell them that what you are doing, how are they going to come forward and talk about you? You
Correct,
have to
correct.
tell them, you have to influence them. Yes, but
Yes.
yes, Pallavi, I fully agree. Even at senior levels, there are people. I was there too at some point of time. I would not say I was born with a capability to talk about my work. But now, slowly, I have done it, and I am supporting other women. I am telling them that this is what you need to do. You need to have visibility, and how I also try to do it as a manager or as a HR head for the organization is to bring forward their contributions, even if they are not doing. So there are women
Yes.
in my organization who will do great work, but when it comes to write an email and talk about it, they will say, no, I am not able to do it. What will people think? So then I write for them. I think all of us must do it. My
Yeah,
boss was
I agree with Gauri what just said. It's perfectly true, and it's not only about like encouraging our own self to come and talk about our achievements, but it's really important that we bring in that cis code, right? I think the bro code has always been there, but bringing in that cis code within your teams and within your organization as a woman leader, I think is very important. And I agree fully with Gauri that no matter what the opportunity or whatever the smallest achievement is, it's very important that we do it if somebody is not doing it within your team. And I fully agree with Gauri on that. That's
Super.
And
it.
then
I
why not use the tools? Those are available, right? I think we have plethora of tools, right? Like you just have to use a phrase from your teams, right? And give them the shine that they worth for. And I think we have to just pay it forward, which helps, and tools do help them. I think the power of appreciation is underestimated at this point of time, but it can amplify somebody's life. So I think we have to use it more. Yeah.
Yes.
Power of
यहाँ
appreciation
पे तो
was
सिस्कोड हो गया.
always the best. Huh?
यहाँ पे तो सिस्कोड हो गया.
अरे Syscode चाहिए. I am a
Yes.
great proponent of Syscode. Syscode all the way. I said. I mean, see, as Gauri Desai said, Bro Code has existed for a long time. अनादि काल से. अभी तो हम शुरू करें. कभी तो शुरू करें. Right.
Yes.
So yes, and then Jayashree, again, if I can have your thoughts about this.
I'm loving this conversation, pro code and cis code. So,
We'll
coming to
codify everything, Jayashree, in the end. Okay.
no,
Good.
it's okay. How organizations create environments where women leaders can thrive in the future? Organization need to simply move from talking about inclusion to creating real opportunities for women to grow into leadership roles. Over the years, I have seen the visibility plays a big role in the career growth. So women should be encouraged to lead projects, participate in strategic decisions, and represent their teams in decision-making forums. We have women on the top, but we need more women. As statistic shows, very less percentage of women workforce in the urban sector. So we need to, a mentorship program, sponsorship programs, can make a big difference when senior leaders actively mentor women professionals and support their growth in build confidence and create stronger leadership pipelines. So ultimately creating a supportive culture where women feel confident to share ideas, take risk, and grow professionally is what organizations build strong women leaders in the future. This is what I believe, Pallavi.
Let me just one thing, I think what just Jayashree said, the last point, right? Feeling comfortable enough to share ideas and they feel supported. I think that's where maybe AI tools can also come in as a help or as a support, wherein uh, most of the women, or maybe generally, sometimes even I might go through a situation wherein feel the little bit of imposter, right, syndrome, right? I might be thinking twice, should I not, or am I thinking on the right lines, right? Maybe some of the strategic decisions, I think that's where I might feel little comfortable to go and check it with a chat GPT, because I might feel that I'm not being judged about putting in my ideas, that is my line of thinking correct, or this is what I have, or how do I solve, or this is my take. I think you just feel that that's like a safe sandbox for you, wherein you are not being judged. I don't know if that kind of openness across all the organizations we could create, then maybe we don't need to really, reach out to non-human AI agents, maybe. But that's where, like she correctly said, that that kind of environment could be created. But how I might look AI is also a safe place wherein maybe you are just kind of getting aligned, or maybe trying to get a framework to your thoughts. The thoughts needs to be original, of course. I am saying it with a lot of responsibility, not completely relying on what the tools have to suggest. So the thought process needs to be absolutely original, but maybe how do I channelize, or how do I present my ideas and thoughts across? Maybe that is where I see AI could be a good thinking partner, a non-judgmental thinking partner. That's just my point of view.
It's an interesting way of using ChatGPT, I must say.
Yeah,
Gauri,
Pallavi,
on a
I would
lighter
like to
note,
add-
yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
You got to go ahead. Gauri, decide on a lighter note, if you want AI to be more detrimental, you just have to go in the settings and change the tone.
Good.
Best friend.
That's where the technology experts giving ideas.
Yes,
I
yes.
did it, and the kind of questions now it throws at me is simply amazing. I mean, always on the second thought, and it tells you that since you asked for it, I'm giving you another point of view, which is not very, very positive. So it's amazing to change the setting.
So you just tame the tool the way you want and then make it work for you. I think that's
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that's a lot of responsibility on our part,
yeah.
right? As a user, of course, that governance and that responsibility definitely lies. But I'm just saying broadly, maybe it's also a safer way to just testify
No,
is my line of
absolutely.
thought correct, or,
Yeah.
just feeling more
Yeah, no,
safe.
no, I absolutely agree to, because I think very well pointed, got the point of it, right? Because today, if you see, I do not know how many organizations would have their AI governance policy right there, right? Because today we do our own research, right? And these are also data sets coming from various sources, right? So we also are not very clear of what's the framework that we should bind to. So totally.
Yeah, Pallavi, I wanted to add on the
Yeah.
last question, what can organization do? So I think we have made some progress. We are seeing just Women's Day, and we are seeing a lot of things around it. We should also monitor and You are an expert in this area. So the number of promotions that we are giving to
Mm,
women in a year
mm.
is also one of the important thing, because now we have decided, okay, we need to have women. We will put them in the junior roles and our diversity goals are met. I know
Diversity
that
hiring is
we have,
over.
yes, yeah.
Mm,
So we have to see how many of them are getting promoted every year. We should also see how many of them are in PNL responsibilities,
mm.
which is also a critical parameter when it comes to growing up the corporate ladder. Many of us did not do it, but wherever possible, those assignments should be given. And one more thing where I have seen women failing or thinking that I would not succeed is because the leadership definition today is also of aggressive, dominant male, which
Yes.
we are not able to connect with. And now
Mm.
we do have role models. We saw some women doing very well even as the head of states. But still in the organization, it's like bolo aur kaam ho jana chahiye wala thing is still dominant. So organizations need to review this as well and change the definition of leadership. I think that would be one of the best things to do, because that will give a lot of encouragement to many women to come forward and take up a leadership role.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I think I agree
you're
with
right.
Gauri. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'll just say 1 minute. It was what Gauri said is absolutely true. When you could be the only woman surrounded by maybe like 8 men leaders, you are always be the someone who will always be thinking twice before even opening your mouth and say something which you know deep down that you are on the right track. But like very correctly said, so I think having more women in the room will also bring in a bit of that psychological safety that and say and if obviously and then cis code and everything. So I think it's a collective effort to ensure that there are more women voices that are that are there first of all to say and speak and then being heard, etc. I think that will all follow.
Absolutely.
The,
Absolutely.
the accountability that has to be taken by the organizations to develop the women leaders is more important at now, and they need to be seen. That is what we would want to see.
Correct. Correct. So manosphere, be on guard. Women are coming. Hmm? So let's move on to let's shift the gears slightly and talk about personal journeys. So looking back at your own career experiences, what is one piece of advice you would give young women entering today's AI-driven workplace? Any of you can take this up.
Okay,
Um,
I'll just
okay,
say,
so
sorry. I'll just say that maybe be curious and be open and have the strong business acumen. I think that's what I would say.
Yeah, curious catalyst. Yeah, be curious. On the lighter note.
I would like to say that uh, during the journey, I was always curious and I always wanted to take a risk. And I always thought that if at all I make a mistake, I'll learn. So when you learn, you don't make a mistake another time. So learning should never stop. This is something very important. Maybe it be any industry, the learning should not stop. And especially we need to evolve with the growth of AI, and young professionals should stay curious, keep upgrading their skills and take up challenges. So we need to learn. Learning should not stop.
Yeah, if I could add, we literally started with 5.5 inch floppy. I don't know, Gauri and Alapini, have you seen a 5.5 inch floppy? Jayashree must have seen the thin one, the thin black one. And then we
The
moved on to
floppy, the
the
floppy.
floppy, yeah. And then we
Yeah,
moved on to the 3.5 inch floppy, if you remember. And
yeah.
then,
There was
and
a
now pen
floppy.
drive, and now Google Drive. So technically, if you look at our last 25, 30 years, we have learned so much. The tech has literally, I mean, every year, every couple of years, it blindsides us, and we have adapted. And we have adapted to AI too. So I think we are already champions, but then young people, I'm worried about their resilience because they are born with these silver spoons. I'm calling silver spoon the tech. The tech is the silver spoon that they are born with. So I'm little worried about them. Abhi, what were your thoughts? मैंने तो अपना बोल दिया.
आपने सीडी सीडी भूल गए, फ्लॉपी के बाद सीडी भी आया।
अरे सीडी भी आया था, करेक्ट, सीडी भी आया था, हम सीडी भूल गए, अरे हम ऐसे भूल सकते थे। हाँ, भूल गए लेकिन। हम्म।
So Pallavi, I think you did mention the new generation born with silver, platinum spoon, whatever it is, right? But I think that's because of the virtue of the environment they are born with and the privileges that have been set up for all this generation, right? Like for them, as I said, roti kapda makan is taken care of, right? So what is next is they have to achieve their aspirations, and I think each generation adds on to these requirements. I always feel so. Silver spoon, I think this phrase also could change, right? Like the way golden spoon, platinum, why not? So I think that's how we have evolved, and I think the advice, if I may have to see, is I think you have to be experimental. You have to build your own prototypes, test it, and you experiment with it quite often. So what happens is, instead of then just relying to the final outcomes, you build your outcomes and then move, experiment, learn with it, fail fast, move forward. Yeah, kind of approach. Yeah.
Super, super.
So talking about the next generation that you spoke about, and Pallavi, you and I keep talking about our kids many times.
Yes,
I think
all the time, all the time.
yeah.
I'm really worried. We are both really worried, right? Yes.
But what I'm seeing as a positive thing is they are very, very clear. I mean, what they want to do, how they want to do, how they want to respond, how they want to live, they have full clarity. And second thing is the challenges that we saw as women, and we just spoke about that we are not able to talk, we are not able to show visibility and all. They are equipped with all those.
Yes.
So our girls, especially, are going to do excellent, much, much better than us. That we are assured. Talking about one learning that my younger self. So one mantra that I have always followed is start with self. Start with self awareness, because I believe it's very basic, but it tells you who you are, what are the areas that are your strengths, because you need to play with your strengths as well. We have always been told focus on your areas of improvement, work on them, but we have to make our weaknesses workable, but we have to play with our strength and accept yourself, because sometimes we are in a cognitive dissonance that, oh, why am I so bad? And I've seen even if people go for strength finder and they get a particular strength which is not listed amongst their top 5, they feel like, oh, say for example communication के साथ मैंने काफी देखा, अरे communication मेरी strength top 5 में क्यों नहीं आ रही है? So even when looking at the strength, we are not happy. We have to accept ourselves, and like Jayashree said, continuous learning should be the key.
Yeah, I mean, our generation, which is of today, I don't think that they really are bothered कि अभी कुछ होने वाला है या नहीं वाला है, वो अपना काम करने वाले हैं. Means
वो
they
तो
are
है।
going. So probably they need to still understand and see ki what I can do. Sometimes they don't want to talk. They may be good at something, but still they don't want to talk about it. So that's where I would say that girls come up, speak, communicate. Communication is something which is important. They may be good and well versed in AI, but communication is important. Up level and down level, wherever.
Up and down. Gauri, what are your thoughts? Gauri, this side.
Okay, about maybe kids, I can't really talk about it, but I
To the
have
young
been
people.
in general, yes, to the young people. I think, yes, I mean, technology, clarity, what Gorida said is absolutely correct that they do have it. But I think in all this, somewhere they are still missing the human element. I mean, I see my friends' kids and all, like, they'll be glued to their, equipments, their mobiles or whatever. So maybe, they can really, really start getting involved in communication with humans and not maybe humanoids or whatever in future. I don't know, but you still have the liberty and the privilege to sit with your humans at home. So please start spending more time with them. And of course, I mean, then they can discuss whatever under the sun, right? I mean, they can talk about technology or whatever. So maybe as the generation at our age, maybe that's our responsibility to really push maybe to them, for them to really come and share and not really miss out on the whole human element, which I see somewhere is getting missed. and it's just kind of little fading away because we are then only talking about machines and technology. So I think just that's maybe our responsibility somewhere to kind of preserve the whole humanness, if amongst the whole technology era, is what I would just say.
Correct. I
Yeah.
back your Gauri Desai. I back you completely.
Yes. Be close to humans at home. Number one. बाकी सब बाद में.
I think we're losing the innocence part of it. I think the generation that we see today, I think we need to bring back that innocence. And otherwise, we will lose the empathy that we are preaching right now. So I think that innocence has to be still intact. I think, but what I like about this generation is how they will, look into the norms also, because there's always a why not. I always get a why not, and I think which keeps me on my toes. So I think something to applaud. They'll just not take it as
Definitely.
given. So I think if that innocence is preserved with this why not approach, I think they're the best generation.
Yeah,
right.
I am.
They have
So well
all the
said,
tools.
Alapini. Very well said. It's something which is really exists.
Yeah.
So now, before we wrap up, a quick rapid fire round, only 2 questions, okay? So, one skill every woman should build for the future of work. Any of you can just take it up.
Continuous learning and adaptability.
Okay.
I would say ability to ask quality questions. Machines have all the answers. Your quality of questions decides what you get in return.
Super. Garbage in, garbage out. But good questions in, good answers out. Okay.
Yeah, I would say be bold and be strategic, and of course, prompt engineering goes without saying.
Be prompt with your prompts.
Yes.
Alapini,
Empathy and integrity.
empathy and integrity. Super. Okay. And one workplace change you would hope to see in the next 5 years. I know this question sounds a lot like Miss Universe ko puchta na, where what do you see next 5 years में क्या होने वाला है? But then you are all Miss Universes for me when it comes to the HR. So one workplace change you hope to see in the next 5 years.
On an immediate basis, if I may answer Pallavi, from moving from work hours to impact hours, I think that's the need.
Wow,
So that
is so right. Yes.
So for the women, you get that visibility, flexibility that we are seeking for. I think a systematic change from number of working hours done to what impact hours you've contributed. I think that should simplify a lot for many genders.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, yeah, please go.
No, I was just backing Alpini.
Yeah, so I would like to see managers being evaluated on teams' growth, not only on targets.
Yes, that stress needs not be the danda should not be there on the head.
Yeah,
Correct. That is true.
because things are changing every day, and unless organizations invest in people, have them upgrade, upskill, it's not going to help either them or the employees. So the criteria should change. It should not always be, like I said, that assertive, getting things done only, but also the holistic view of workplace.
Sorry, this side.
Yeah, I think I would say that not having to discuss this whole gender discussions, right? I think every year again, celebrating Women's Day become more or less women's responsibility,
Yeah.
and somewhere indirectly also, I think that's what happens. So I think not having to discuss that when you have technology and to back you up, I think it's more about being able to deliver, and it's completely gender agnostic. Then you are just talking about the deliverables, performance, the impact hours, as Alapani said. I think that should be the focus, and I think yes, maybe if technology could support us, maybe very soon we would be there, and we are not then getting recognized by the gender, but by the role or the impact that we are creating in the organization.
We need to be stopping this whole thing about the equality should have been achieved in next 5 years, right? This is what our goal has to be there.
Yeah,
Jayashree?
workplaces where leadership opportunities are based should be purely on capability and not gender. They should be pure equality. And somewhere down the line, I always feel that, if there are women who are pregnant, they should be onboarded, they should be interviewed, and then they should be absorbed in the ecosystem. That's the change that can help.
Yeah, so there should be no maternity bias. All. Basically, this is a very a strong target for next 5 years. But I do hope आपके सबके मुंह में घी शक्कर. I just hope that we
आपका
get to
क्या है
see this
पल्लवी?
change. मेरा तो world peace है.
वर्ल्ड पीस. अभी मतलब नेक्स्ट 1 मंथ का आप पूछ रहे तो हम वर्ल्ड पीस सभी बोलेंगे. वर्ल्ड पीस.
But then, yeah, see, as I said, workplaces where leadership opportunities are dependent on talent and not visibility, not gender. All these biases should just go away. Of course, that will simply mean that I have no work left. Okay. So, but then I'm willing to sacrifice that. That is okay.
No, I'm sure that will allow
Yeah.
you, it will open different doors for you, Pallavi.
Yes,
Maybe
yes.
you might be talking about AI.
Yes, yeah. So a lot of people do ask me, what are you doing with AI? I said, AI runs our life. It is going to run our life. It is there everywhere. So let us not compartmentalize people that, okay, only you should be thinking about this, only you should be doing that. And as as you all said, see, time. Let me share one sort of simple example here, a small story. So when I started working, there was this thing about going on and on, sitting on and on in the office. I was in sales. So 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, people are still sitting. I have literally seen men playing solitaire. They don't want to go home because the boss has not gone home yet. Does it even make any sense now? You tell me. You're not doing any work. You're spending time away from your loved ones. You're not adding anything to your work or your targets. You're just sitting there wasting your time. So all these things should just go away. But
Pallavi, all this has changed. I think somewhere
it has changed, but it is still there. Yeah, there are so many sectors
probably
where
there are
it's
organizations.
still there. Yeah, it's still there. See, Jayashree, we are among the privileged few. This
Yeah,
privilege does not.
I feel I am
Tier 2, Tier 3 also, maybe women still don't have as much voice.
Yeah. Women, men, forget women. Men also do not have that kind of voice. So we are privileged. Our discussion is still at bordering on privilege. But I personally feel that where we are, we can take this. We have the ability to understand what is going to happen, what is happening down the road. We can take decisions. To so many people, these options are not there. They do not have the knowledge. So that is how things are, my dear.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think on the other note, it's still we still talk about women's safety, right? I think that's the central part, and I think I can just give you my morning's example. I was about to book a helper on an app. I don't want to name the app, but it did give me a message which said that before I said yes, do you have a female at home? Because for them, her safety is important, and then that's the next step. It says yes, and then you proceed for the payment. Now, today we are talking about it, and today with the technology, we are also looking into the safety aspect of it, right? So I think it's double way, right? I mean, yes, technology is making sure that you have a woman there at home when that helper is coming. That gives her a psychological safety. Yes, I'll be safe there. But again, we're still there. I mean, with the tech as well. So there's a lot to work, and I think all fabulous women out here will make that change. I'm very hopeful.
Yeah, same here. So we are still at the basics, Alapini, right? So thank you all so much. We have actually exceeded the time, but what a fantastic talk this was. As we close today's session, the discussion on women and the future of work, one thing is clear. AI will transform workplaces. But how inclusive that future is depends on the choices that we make today. See, interestingly, while globally 68% of men say that they feel confident using AI at work compared to 59% of women, India tells a different story. So, see, women, we are different from the global. Okay, so women in Indian workforce are showing remarkable adaptability to AI. And globally, as we all know, women are already shaping the future of AI. So we talked about Daniel Amodai, who's the co-founder of Anthropic. There's Meera Burati, who's a founder of Thinking Machine Lab. There's Timnit Gebru, who's founder of Distributed AI Research Institute. So the real opportunity before us is clear. When organizations invest in skills, access, and leadership opportunities for women, AI doesn't just change work, it makes workplaces stronger for everyone. So thank you, all of you. Thank you for your wonderful and thoughtful insights. Yeah. And let us continue to working together to build stronger, more inclusive workforces in the future. Yeah. So thank you, Alapini. Thank you, Gauri Desai. Thank you, Gauri Das. And thank you, Jayashree Benjamin. It was a privilege
Thank you so
talking
much.
to you. Yeah.
Thank you.
I
Thank
Thank you.
loved it.
Thanks to all of you.
Thank you so much.
Loved
Your
the
team.
session,
Thank you so
and
much.
thank
you
you,
so much.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.